And now, time for weekly show with a passionate India lover, chairman of ITV Gold and Parikh Worldwide Media. Get ready for loving sharing from physician, philanthropist, publisher, and India advocate in This Week.
Welcome to This Week with Dr. Sudhir Parikh. Renowned for his medical expertise and astute observations on global affairs, Padma Shri recipient Dr. Parikh joins us to delve into recent developments shaping our world. Today we explore politics, conflicts and cultural milestones. Dr. Parikh, thank you for being with us.
Namaskar. Namaskar everyone.
Let's start with our weekly questions. The Bharatiya Janata Party BJP secured a significant victory in the Delhi Assembly elections, winning 48 out of 70 seats after a 27-year hiatus. What do you believe this victory signifies for India's political landscape, and how might it influence national politics?
Well, I think it's very important and very significant win of the BJP after 27 years. That's long hiatus, long hiatus of BJP, and this shows that I think this whole win is on the Prime Minister Modi's leadership. And they have tried everybody for last 10 years. Aap Aadmi has a lot of anti-incumbency, and because of that, I think they want to try now BJP, because it's easy to, then BJP has to, because in center there is a BJP government, and if Delhi has BJP, then it's easy coordination between two center and Delhi, because Delhi does not have some restriction; they cannot do certain things. So and all the time, Aam Aadmi Party and center were always in the conflict. True. And so the sufferer was only Delhi. So I think the people of the Delhi decided a correct thing, and I think the BJP victory is the right victory. And let's see, hopefully next 5 years Delhi gets a better administration.
But Congress did really poorly, I would say.
Yeah, 4 years. No, 5 years, I think, right?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah, 5 years, yeah.
Prime Minister Modi's recent visit to France for a meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron has focused on enhancing bilateral relations and boosting strategic cooperation. How do you see or assess the potential impact of this meeting on India-France relations and its broader implications for India's position in Europe?
I think India and France relation, mainly the economics relation and trade relation, is very important and very critical. And as you know that we have a very good strategic relationship with the France in the defense. And we ordered a lot of French-made fighter jets for our military in India. And so the relation with France is very important, because France is very major, important European country. Plus, this meeting, what they had was about the environmental meeting. It was for climate change meeting. And now, I mean, in this meeting, the Prime Minister was Vice Chair of the whole conference. That shows the importance of the India in the climate change in the world.
What is your opinion on climate change? And
well, I think climate has to be changed, and there is a kind of global warming, and there is a way to kind of one can minimize the global warming, but unfortunately, all the countries are talking about that, but nobody is really seriously trying because of the economics of the whole thing. Because right now, still the energy is more based on the coals rather than sunlight. So I think, but eventually it will change slowly.
But US opting out of the Paris Accord, was it a good thing or a bad thing?
No, I think it's a bad thing, because US is the largest country, and US has to do so many things for that initiative. So I think it was kind of mistake on the part of the President Trump to opt out because he wants to drill more oil in the USA and he wants to just crack the oil prices and make it more easy for American economy. That's the whole politics there.
The ongoing Mahakumbh Mela in Prayagraj has set a new record with over 450 million devotees attending so far. What does this massive turnout mean for India's cultural diplomacy and global image?
I think it's a great cultural diplomacy and it's good for Sanatana Dharma. And this kind of gathering, it's a unique gathering. I mean, to gather this many crores of people in the one location is not easy. The whole logistic is impossible to manage. And I have attended Kumbh Mela 5 years ago, Ardha Kumbh Mela, so I know exactly how good they are managing there. And
how was your experience? I'd love to
the experience
know.
was lovely. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it is it's a unique experience. So I was there in Allahabad, Prayagraj only 5 years ago. They had Ardha Kumbh. But Ardha Kumbh also very crowded. It was very crowded. And now, of course, now it's much more crowded. Mahakumbh. And I think only unfortunate thing happened was that stampede. I think in this kind of gathering, there should not be any VIP arrangement or they should not let any VIP to come. Or restrict them somehow.
Or some area.
Some area only, yeah, because almost a lot of people died.
Yes.
And a lot of people got injured, and a lot of people lost their relatives because they don't know where to find them. So I think it's very unfortunate thing happened.
President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed to initiate negotiations for a ceasefire in Ukraine, marking a shift in US-Russia relations. What do you make of this development and how will it affect global geopolitical dynamics in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict?
I think Russia wants to stop this, wants to get out of this war because Russia is kind of dragging and it's long, drawn out 2 years of war. But the same thing, I'm not sure how Ukraine will behave because Ukraine doesn't want to lose any of their territory. And the only way they will have negotiation is that whatever Russia won, they will keep it and become a part of Russia. And probably Ukraine may or may not agree because they say that so much sacrifice they gave in last 2 years, it's all kind of vain, you know. So let's see how. I mean, it is a good idea to stop the war and have some negotiated solution to this problem, you know.
President Trump did say he's going to stop the war on the first day of his presidency. It never happened. I was like really,
those things are political rhetoric. So, I mean, you don't expect to happen anyway, you know.
Yeah. The US has recently imposed new tariffs on certain imports, which could impact global trade. How do you foresee these tariffs affecting the global economy and US-India trade relations? With India being a significant trading partner, how will this affect India's exports to the US?
Well, I think this trade and this tariff tariff on the different countries is mainly meant for balancing out the trade, export-import of the USA. And this kind of tariffs always, in short term, is very inflationary. It means it increases the inflation on the prices of the goods. But eventually it will kind of work it out or balance it out itself. And India has important trade relation with the USA, but our trade relation is not that big. It is only $2 billion, which is not that big. And of course, if President USA administration thinks that India is not fair to the USA in the trade, so that's why they want to put more tariff on India. And if there's a more tariff, then obviously in short term, sufferer will be Indian people of the India.
With the increasing US aid and bond purchases for Israel, how might this affect global debates on the Israel-Palestine conflict, especially with the US's growing involvement in the region?
I don't think that what President Trump is saying that USA wants to develop the Gaza,
Gaza Strip.
and send all the 1 million or 2 million Palestine to different countries around surrounding country. But I don't think Saudi Arabia or Jordan they will agree on that. And so this is just non-starter. It's not going to go anywhere. Because, I mean, of course, USA should help or United Nations should help to rehabilitate or restructure Gaza Strip, but I'm sure Palestinian people will not go anywhere because, I mean, no person or no countries, people want to go out of their country just for sake of somebody else. It's not going to probably not going to happen.
Tulsi Gabbard has been confirmed by the US Senate as Director of National Intelligence. What is your take on her appointment and how might her leadership influence US intelligence operations moving forward, particularly in relation to counterterrorism and foreign intelligence sharing?
I think, of course, once she becomes confirmed and become in charge of this national intelligence and security, I mean, she will do everything which is good for USA and USA interest. Always this kind of thing in the world always works whatever the country interest is. I mean, because she is a Hindu origin doesn't mean that she will be pro-India.
Yeah.
Because all this thing strictly goes what's the interest of the USA.
Country first.
Country first. So always like that. Otherwise, she will be kind of criticized badly, you know.
Looking ahead, Prime Minister Modi is expected to meet with President Trump in the United States. Given the current dynamics between the two countries, what major issues do you expect will be on the agenda? What can we anticipate from this high-stakes meeting in terms of trade, security, and diplomatic cooperation?
I think this is a very important meeting, and I'm sure Prime Minister Modi and President Trump will have very productive meeting, very good understanding between two countries. And I think, I'm sure that Prime Minister Modi is expecting more tariff on the Indian goods. And so I'm sure he wants to request to go slowly and make sure that it doesn't affect people of the India economically that much. Otherwise, Indian economy can go. I mean, it becomes kind of unbearable for most of the people in India. And number two, I think I'm sure they will discuss this undocumented Indian American who are Trump administration is sending back.
That would have been my next question.
Yeah, so because and the way they are sending back, I'm sure they will agree that India is ready to take them back anyway.
Right.
Because I mean, any citizen has right to go back to their home country. But there should be India can make some kind of deal where government can send a plane to take them out. And rather than sending what happened last time,
the military
plane, and they were shackled and they were handcuffed and all those things. It's an insult to the India, and I think I'm sure Prime Minister Modi will make sure that it doesn't happen again.
True. There have been rising geopolitical tensions, particularly with China's increasing influence in the Indo-Pacific. How do you think India can leverage its relationship with the US in balancing this growing influence?
Well, I think it's very important that in China's aggression, and China is almost controlling right now 4,000 square kilometer of the Ladakh anyway. So it's very dangerous. So I think India should be kind of act with the close to the USA. That way China should not dare to do more aggression in India. So I think we have to stop the China and we need some help from the USA, country like USA who has some leverage and influence on them.
The trade deficit between the US and India has been widening, with India exporting more than its imports. Do you think there's room for both countries to resolve trade imbalances, especially as the US considers additional tariffs?
I think that's the reason why US is considering additional tariff to resolve this imbalance between export and import from the India, and that will happen, and that's what Trump is saying it, and I'm sure he's doing that way.
Thank you, Dr. Parikh, for sharing your invaluable insights into these pressing global issues. Before we end today's episode, I'd like to remind our viewers that you can follow Dr. Sudhir Parikh on Facebook at Dr. Parikh and on X with his handle Sudh Parikh. Now for your words of wisdom before we wrap.
Well, I mean, dear friends, our Prime Minister Modi is visiting Washington DC and meeting the President Trump tomorrow. I think what I understand his meetings are from morning to evening, and the whole idea behind this meeting is to request the USA to not to put too much of tariff on the India, because that can affect the India's economy. Number two, they want to make sure that all the undocumented India is welcome to take them back, but at the same time, it should be taken back by not as a criminal or not as a kind of handcuff, but India government themselves can arrange a flight for all those immigrant, and India is always willing, and they already said, government has already said that they are willing to take each and everyone back. So there is no other conflict there, but it has to be done in such a way that it should not be inhumane or it should not be insult the country.
Yes, true. Thank you so much.
And after saying that, we'll see you next week. Till then, goodbye.